What is the best canned food for survival food to store in your prepper pantry? Is it going to be some kind of fish? Is it going to be kind of like a one-pot meal? Is it fruit or beans? Perhaps vegetables or some kind of meat or something else entirely like coconut milk or condensed milk. What is the best canned food to put in your prepper pantry for survival? Well, we're going to look at all the different types of canned foods. Obviously, canned foods are not going to be the only thing that you put in your prepper pantry, nor am I advocating that you should only put one kind. But this video is to try to determine the one best type or one best kind of canned food. Now, I am outside today. You might hear some critters in the background like that. That is one of our on-site egg factories, aka chickens. So our first category to consider for survival foods is going to be the meats. And when it comes to the meats, you have many choices, obviously. You have meats come in things like these that are single meats in the can. Meats also come as what I call mixes, like the Vienna sausage, the Spam, and there's others. The meats also come in what I call meat foods, corned beef hash, tamales. You can also get your meat flavored like this, chicken and buffalo style sauce. You can get your beef with a type of gravy or broth. So when it comes to the meats, what is the best choice for survival foods? Well, it depends upon what you value the most. If you're just straight out looking for protein, one of the meats that are packed by itself, one type, chicken, beef, pork, whatever it might be. If you're looking for protein, fat, or calories, it's going to be something like the Spam or the Vienna sausage. Got a lot more calories, also a lot more fat. Nutrition-wise, you'll have to decide what's more important in that regard. If you want something that is more like a meal, but still has meat in it, you got beanie weenies, you got corned beef hash type things, and the tamales. These last three all have meat products or meat, but they're more meal-like than just the straightforward single meats. So is meat the best survival food when it comes to canned foods? Let's look at another category. So when it comes to fish in canned foods, some people would say, well, that's meat, and it is, but most of the nutritional gurus out there talk about fish and meat or meat and fish. So we'll do it that way too. Most of the fish are single variety types, like tuna, salmon, mackerel, sardines. If you put a higher value on just protein, it's probably going to be the tuna. Doesn't have a lot of fat in the tuna. If you want overall calories with protein and fat, good fats, salmon, hard to beat. And the only one that can, in my thinking, is probably sardines or kipper snacks or herring. And just like you can get some of the meats flavored, like barbecue sauce with the beef, this is mackerel and tomato sauce. You can also get sardines in olive oil. You can get them in water. So you got a variety of choices when it comes to your fish as well. So when it comes to tuna, there is yellowfin tuna available, albacore tuna available, and chunk light tuna available. One concern about tuna is mercury. So it is my understanding that the chunk light tuna, I don't know if you can see it, primarily comes from skipjack tuna, which is a smaller type of tuna than the others. Therefore, from my study, from my research, the chunk light tuna has a lot less mercury or potential for mercury in it than the yellowfin or the albacore. Yes, I have all three, but we now, when we buy tuna, we get the chunk light. We will keep what we have of the other kind. If we buy more, it will be the chunk light. course, the salmon, you want to be sure you get the wild caught. Don't get the conventionally raised salmon. It's raised kind of like livestock. Farm raised salmon, it's still meat, it's still salmon, but get the wild caught. All right, so is the best canned food for survival a type of canned meat, or a type of canned fish, or is it something else? Let's look at another type of canned food. Hey, if you're getting useful information from this video and you like it, please give it a thumbs up. Okay, the next type of canned food to consider as survival food to put in our prepper pantries will be fruits. And fruits, like everything else, come in a variety of ways. Like pear halves, pineapples, these would be single fruits. You also can, in your fruits, get fruit cocktails or fruit salads. And different brands will have different mixtures of different fruits. You can also get fruit in things like pie fillings. Lots of added sugar, usually, sometimes food colorings as well. When it comes to the fruit, you also can get it in light syrup. Heavy syrup, the heavier the syrup, the more calories. So if you're looking for fruit and calories, fruit and heavy syrup. If you're looking for fruit and just the fruit, primarily anyway, in its own juice or in light syrup. If you want just to go all out for calories with a little fruit, probably a pie mixture. So which one is the best for survival food in the fruit categories? The best for survival, it's going to be the mixtures, because it's more meal-like, more variety, more nutrients, more vitamins, more minerals than just the individual fruits. Is the best canned food for survival in our prepper pantries meat, fish, or fruit, or something else? Let's consider something else. The next category of canned foods that we're going to look at for the best type of canned food for survival are beans. So beans, like everything else that comes canned, you can get a variety in your beans. You can get just straightforward beans, individual beans like the black beans or the pinto beans, the butter beans. And when it comes to the individual beans, I have 3 types of black bean here, all great value. I hope you guys don't mind roosters. No salt added, regular, and seasoned. So you can get them in a variety of ways. If you want more flavor, if you don't like just straightforward beans, you can get them flavored. Get the regular amount of salt, get no salt added. When it comes to flavorings, you can also get baked beans that come in a variety of flavors and so forth, but they have a lot of sugar typically in them that these don't have. And then there's refried beans that has some fat of some type added into it, depending upon which brand and so forth that you get. So when it comes to beans, the best choice for a survival food when it comes to beans, if you're looking at calories and protein and the beans, I would say it's something like this. Not because the can's bigger, but because it's got more meal-like qualities. It's got more stuff than just the actual bean. This would be a close second in my thinking, because it has the fats in it. Either of these two would work as the best survival food option in the bean category. Remember, please keep in mind, we're talking survival, and I'm going to talk to you about simplicity and the need to have meal-like qualities in your canned survival food. We're not talking about everyday cooking right now, so let's move on to another category of canned food. Our next category to consider for the best canned food for survival is going to be what I call one-pot meals. And so in that category, we have such things as, we might have one of those soon. Anyway, things like chili, where you've got meat, and beans, tomato sauces, some kind of thing like that. Pretty much meal-like. You got the variety of canned pastas. This happens to be a particular type and brand, but there's unlimited brands and types of pasta with meat. Probably the most unlimited meal in a can you got available is going to be various kinds of soups, more pasta with a different kind of meat in it, and beef stew, which is a very, very good one-pot meal type of food. So when it comes to the one-pot meals, or the most meal-like things you can get in a can, which one is the best choice for survival food? What's going to be a close call, in my thinking, between the beef stew, because it has the meats, fats, lots of different vegetables, chilies, you got the meat, you got the beans, and this one has some veggies in it, bell peppers, a little bit of corn, some green chilies, dehydrated onions. So this one is more meal-like than the rest of them that you see sitting here. Again, not the brand, just the type of food. Chili with meat and beans and some added veggies if you can find it would be a good pick out of the meal in a can or one-pot meal canned foods. Is the best type of canned food for survival food: meats, fish, fruits, vegetables, beans, one-pot meals, or something else. The last category that we're going to look at in canned foods is kind of like an all-inclusive everything else. That would be not limited to, but would include things like you see here: condensed milk, coconut milk or coconut type foods that come in a can, tomato products, which you could eat them as a food, but typically they're added to other foods to make a meal. Same with this type of chilies and all kinds of different chilies. There would be also olives and any number of other things that you can put in this category. So when it comes to just this category of everything else, the best survival food, in my thinking, is going to be some type of the coconut milk or coconut products. Has some protein, lots of good fats, lots of calories, and probably will keep a little bit longer than just this kind of milk. So there we have 7 categories or types of canned foods. So let's talk about the best type of canned food for a survival food to keep in our prepper pantries. So here are representatives of the 7 types of canned foods that we looked at. And you might have noticed a pattern. The fruits, the vegetables, they were mixtures. The meats were mixtures, had lots of fat in them. One-pot meals. The fish were easy to open. It didn't have to make salmon patty type things out of them. The criteria was survival food, meaning, in my thinking, you get the can off the shelf or out of the pantry, open it, and you can eat it. You might not want to, but you can right there. No cooking, no heating. As close to a complete meal as we can get. And that means then that the best type of survival food is going to be something along these lines: a one-pot meal that has meat, or at least protein, and as many vegetables and other foods as you can get in that one can. Not necessarily these in my hand, but this type. And in the event you're going to be cooking a lot of foods indoors, in this video I show you 5 different stoves that you can use safely indoors during grid down SHTF type of emergencies. And if you're adding canned meats to your prepper pantry, check this video out.